Good morning. Can people hear us?
Right. Thank you for joining the Google Hangout for the Vedica Founders, Vedica Scholars Program for Women. We've spent some time last week. We had a great response, and we were told that there were many others who were keen to ask questions about the program, where we are in the launch, about the faculty, about the campus, about loans, and about the program. So we look forward to talking to each of you and answering your queries. I have with me today, some of you may know I'm Anuradha Mathur. I'm the founding dean of the Vedica Scholars Program. I have with me today Pramat Sinha, who's the chairman of the Academic Council for the Vedica program, also one of the founders, and as some of you will know from our website, is the person who brings lots and lots of years of experience in higher education and management education. He was the founding dean of the Indian School of Business and is also one of the founders and trustees of the Young India Fellowship. Many of you know about it, and also the Ashoka University. One of the most popular questions that we are getting from students is how the program is designed and what we hope to achieve and deliver to each of you at the end of the 18 months. So I'm going to kick off with that answer. The idea behind the Vedica Scholars Program is that there are many people who are keen on a career but don't want to go and do a traditional MBA, which doesn't have several of the other elements that we're offering at Vedica. As you know, the core of this program is management practice. How it differs from a traditional MBA is that it's going to prepare you for a career in any area that you choose to go out and make a career in. It could be in business, it could be as an entrepreneur, it could be in higher education. You may want to be the vice chancellor or the principal of a college. You may want to join the government and run a public sector enterprise, or you may want to go into the development sector and run an NGO or a development organization. So the way we've structured this program is that management is at its core, and then it has 3 parallel tracks. We believe that learning management without the context of the country that you live in or the world that we operate in falls short of the optimal. So we have a track in the liberal arts where you will learn about sociology, politics, economics, history, a little bit of philosophy to help you understand the country and the world that we live in, and accordingly run your businesses or the jobs that you're in. There are 2 other tracks in the program that we're offering. Both of these will help you build your own brand, how people see you, how they perceive you, and how they experience your professionalism. One is about understanding yourself. So it's called Taking Charge of Personal Growth, where you are considered to be responsible to understand who you are and decide how you want to move forward towards your career goals. And this program will have the front end of it is going to be assessments, where we will help you understand what your motivations are, what your strengths are, what your values are, and how do you want to use these and respond to these to then ultimately get to the career goals that you have set for yourself. Leading self, leading change, leading organizations, negotiations, innovation, all of these are a part of this track. And finally, it doesn't matter how smart you are, how bright you are, how good you are at your work. How you think and how you express yourself will ultimately determine how effectively you can be the professional that you want to be. So we have a parallel track which will help teach you how to think and communicate effectively. So that in essence is the way the program has been designed. Most of you know it's an 18-month program. It's fully residential, and it's going to be in the heart of Delhi. We have a very nice green campus in the heart of South Delhi, and the hostel is not even half a kilometer away in one of the student hubs in Delhi called Katwaria Sarai. I'm going to hand over to Pramat to talk to you a little bit about the genesis of this program, and also then wait for your questions and answer those.
No, thank you, Anuradha. I think that you covered most of what I wanted to talk about, but this program is, as Anuradha said, really meant for people who want to have successful careers and find the MBA by itself very unappealing. Having been involved with MBA programs, and especially with the programs that run in India, my belief is that it has come time now that we need to change the way management education works in this country. I've been thinking about this for the last 10 years, and the elements that we have brought into this program are really to showcase what some of those thoughts are about what are employers looking for, what are recruiters looking for, and bring that into the classroom learning environment, which other MBA programs have not actually been successful in doing. I think the second reason for setting up this program is to ensure that there's a pathway to a successful career for women in this country. Because I think that the barriers to entry into any MBA program and therefore into the corporate world are unreasonably high for people who are not attuned to towards taking entrance examinations or to cracking an entrance test or getting high marks on the time. I think the reason to the reason to do this program is that people still want to have a successful career, but are looking for a way to get into a successful career without having to go through a plain vanilla MBA in their lives. So with that, I'll look forward to answering some of your questions and queries today. Thank you.
One of the other questions that we have right now is around the Shadow a Woman CEO program. As you know, it is one of the most popular and attractive parts of this program. The way it's thought through is then roughly 10 months into your program, you will spend 1 month shadowing a woman CEO. Now, while we call it a woman CEO, it's really a woman business leader. She could be the CEO of a company. They could be marketing heads. They could be strategy heads. They could head a development sector organization, principals of schools. We already have about 35 or 40 CEO mentors signed up. And they will represent across the spectrum organizations and sectors that all of you have expressed an interest in as I have been interviewing over the last month. The way it's going to work is you will go and work with this person for 1 month in their office very closely. Some of you may know the concept of an executive assistant, which is different from a personal assistant. An executive assistant in most organizations is someone who is identified as a high performance individual who needs to get exposed to top management and leadership because they are being groomed for future leadership positions. This person, in effect, works like a mini CEO. So I'm exaggerating to make the point, but you really do almost everything in to a small extent that the CEO or the person you're working with does. You will sit in on meetings with them. You will help them prepare for meetings. You will be a part of other projects and things that they are leading. So you get exposed in a very short time, in 4 weeks, to 2 things. One is leadership styles of women, and the other is the challenges of top management. So for many people who also have work experience, this is a way to actually start working with somebody who you would otherwise in the normal course of your career probably not have had a chance to engage with and work with for at least the first few years of your working life. I've also been asked whether you will get to pick your mentors or whether the mentors will pick you, or this is going to be a random selection. The way it's going to work is there are some absolutely natural fits. So for example, we have a CEO of a design company based out of Ahmedabad. Anybody who's looking to do branding, design, marketing kind of work, there would be a natural fit. There are people who have expressed an interest in working in higher education and the social sector. For that, we have invited somebody from Teach for India. There is a lady who's been running a foundation for education for the last, Urvashi Sahni, who's been running this foundation for the last 15, 20 years. That would be a natural fit. But people who are more agnostic between senior management roles, there we would do a more random selection, and that's how you would get it assigned to your to your CEO mentor. One of the other things that we get asked a lot is the level of involvement of the governing council. As you know, many of you have been attracted to this program because we have a very high quality and very high caliber of governing council from across the world. These people are going to help shape and guide the program. Some of them are going to be faculty on the program. Many of them are going to be available for at least guidance and mentoring as and when required. But they will all be, during the course of your program, there is no question that you will have the opportunity to meet all of them and be able to engage with some of them more closely.
I think we have a question from Asmita Baronia, who has asked about what will the structure of what will the 13 semesters look like, and whether we will have exams after each semester. I think the first thing I should say is that there will be exams after each semester, and these semesters will end in some sort of evaluation, which will add up to a overall evaluation for the 18-month program. So we will make sure that during the semester, during each of the semesters, you will have continuous opportunities for evaluation. There will be quizzes, there will be papers, there will be exercises that you will be evaluated on. And in addition to that, there will be some sort of final evaluation, which may not be a traditional written Q&A type of exam. It could be a paper, it could be a project, it could be something that you have to enact or take pictures of. So it could be various different forms of examination. It will not be the traditional school or college examination that one is used to. But there will be evaluation for each of the 4 tracks at the end of each semester, which will then add up to the cumulative evaluation for the entire course. In terms of the 13 semesters, each semester is going to be 6 weeks long. And in each area, you will have 4 courses each semester in each of these areas that the 4 tracks that we outlined. So in communication and analytical thinking, in management practice, in learning from the liberal arts, and in the personal growth track, you will have some course going on in each of those 4 tracks. And the structure is that each semester will have 5 weeks of coursework or studies, which will be at least 2 lectures every week in each course. And then a 6th week, which is all about evaluation, exams, projects, writing, and reading and preparing for the exam. So it's 6 weeks with 5 weeks of actual work and engagement and classroom and studies and lectures and assignments, and then 1 week for reading and assignments, reading and evaluation. So that's how the 13 semesters are designed. And semester 10 is the semester for the Shadow the Woman CEO program, and that will just be a 1-month semester rather than a 6-week semester. So that's a short semester. Now, this was the basic structure of the semester, but within each semester and within each course, there will be variations on this basic theme. But most of your courses and most of your semesters are going to look like that. It's a pretty intense program, and you are going to be quite involved and busy and stretched in doing this program. I hope that answers your question.
Asmita, were you also looking for the breakdown of the courses, or the structure is what you were looking for?
If there are any other questions, people can ask them now. We have some questions on the email also.
For the just for the interest of the others, and since the management practice is at the core, I will tell you that semester 1 is a session called is a course called Management 101, where you're going to get introduced to all the elements of a management program, based on how organizations are the kind of organizations you will work in. But it's like a mini MBA in the first term, so that you have a sense of what's coming going forward. Then we have traditional courses. We have a course in marketing strategy in the next term, organization and talent management, operations, accounting and finance, technology for growth and governance, planning, business ethics, etc. I think Asmita is telling us that her question was answered. So if somebody else wants to know the details, then we'll come back to it. Otherwise, we're going to move to our next program. So this is a common question we get asked. Is this course going to be an MBA program considered by industry, or just a certificate program? So what you get awarded at the end of this 18-month program is a certificate. It will be a postgraduate certificate in management. In terms of how it will be recognized by industry, I think there the situation is, I think you have to understand that what is called a degree or a diploma or a certificate, how industry sees it can vary quite differently based on the reputation of the program. Pramath is sitting with me. He's been presiding over the Indian School of Business for many years, and some of you on the Hangout will know that that is not a degree program. So it is in fact not recognized by the government.
So that too is a certificate program. And just to be clear, it is a certificate program, but we will make sure that industry recognizes that we are giving people not just an MBA, but more than what an MBA course would offer. And the onus will be on us to convince them that this is actually the equivalent of an MBA program in many ways, which is what we have successfully been able to do in the past. So I have no doubt in my mind that we'll be able to convince recruiters that what they are getting is really better than an MBA product.
And in fact, in the run-up to launching Vedica, we have been in touch with industry. Many of you know that there are 7, 8, 9, 10 companies that have already expressed deep interest in coming and recruiting at Vedica for several reasons. One is that they feel the standard MBA product leaves people wanting in terms of writing and communication skills, in terms of leadership skills, and in terms of understanding the context of how they work, which are 3 gaps that Vedica will help fulfill. But the bigger, larger issue is that companies across the world and in India are very keen to meet diversity norms. They all have commitments at board levels for the number of women in their companies. And they struggle because women join the workforce but then drop off very quickly. Some part of the personal growth track at Vedica is going to be dedicated to helping you understand your own challenges, the kind of challenges that you will face going forward, and prepare you to meet those challenges in a manner that you don't have to drop out of the workforce as you progress in life. I keep telling people when I interview them that we would like Vedica scholars to promise us as they graduate that their first response to a challenge is not going to be to quit their jobs. In fact, it should be a last resort, and almost give us a commitment that unless there is something very extraordinary and very compelling for them to drop off the workforce, they won't. And the truth of the matter is that getting married, having children, having aging parents, and having aging in-laws are neither extraordinary challenges and nor are they compelling beyond a point. So these are things that we hope we will skill you enough to be able to navigate as you progress in your careers. So far, I've been very encouraged that all the young women who have signed up to Vedica and who have interviewed seem completely committed to the fact that they need the financial independence, want the independence emotionally, intellectually, and materially to be able to lead successful and dignified lives. With that promise, when we go to industry, they're actually waiting to grab Vedica scholars, because if they can get women who not only bring the competence of a management degree, but also all of this other stuff that is great attitude to continue and become successful in the workforce, that's exactly what they seem to have been waiting for. Somebody is asking whether there's a forum to interact with the rest of the scholars who have been accepted. This was asked last time as well, and there is a Facebook closed group that has been set up by people who have already been admitted. There are about 15 people already on that group, and I'm going to ask my colleague Ananya to put this on the registrations database group, the link to the Facebook, the closed group for Vedica scholars.
I think, Asmita, you have a follow-on question about whether the universities in the US will see it as a 16th year of your education or not. I'm pretty certain that we will be able to give you a convincing certification that the universities will be able to do that. I think they've done that in the case of the ISB MBA. They've done that in the case of the Young India Fellowship Program. I think universities like to know what did you do in that 16th year, and in that 16th year, what were the kind of contact hours that you had, and was it a full-time program or not? So if you actually look at our program, it would meet all of those requirements, even if we are not part of a recognized university or accredited environment. And give between the courses, the structure of the courses, the intensity of the courses, and the faculty who are teaching those courses, which are also a good mix of academics and professionals, I have no doubt that the universities there will give credit to you for the work that you have done here. So I think it should be a positive thing that you should be able to see.
We have a question on what are the parameters on which applicants are selected. So there are 4 or 5 things we look at. We are looking at the educational background of students only to the extent of whether they will be able to cope with the curriculum that is a part of the Vedica Scholars Program for 18 months. You would know as applicants and people who have registered with Vedica that we hadn't actually put an academic qualifying number or to your application. It was open to everyone, but I'm quite delighted at the quality of applicants we have got. I think most people who we've got have first-class degrees or very high second divisions in their graduation and post-graduation courses, but most of them have actually high first divisions and sometimes distinctions. Most people have very, very good school and school records. 80%, 85%, 90, 95% is really the average that we are seeing. So on the educational background, actually, we've been very pleasantly surprised with a very high quality of students. The second thing that we look for is in the personal interview, how people conduct themselves, how they respond to situations, how they think about the questions that they are being asked, and the general impression of the personality that comes across in the personal interview. The third thing that we are very keen to identify in a Vedica scholar is their commitment to staying in continuous employment. As Pramath mentioned at the beginning of the hangout, we are not looking to do this program for people to come, have fun, experience it, and then wonder whether they want to work or not. We are putting in a lot of effort and resources into running this program, and the main purpose of this is to equip young women with aspirations and dreams to actually go out and fulfill those dreams with successful careers. So we do look for a commitment beyond average towards financial independence and towards responsibility for your own well-being and careers as you go forward. We also look to see how much the person or the applicant will benefit from the Vedica program. There are people who have actually had very similar experiences, and what students will get out of this is not that much, although there isn't anybody who I've met so far who wouldn't benefit from the program. But most people we meet, either because of the exposure that they have not had, or the organizations they have been in, or the fact that they have got focused into either technology or just one specific area right after graduation, would benefit hugely from the kind of exposure, the faculty, the governing council, and the Shadow of Women CEO program that we have put together. So that is the fourth thing that we see. And the fifth parameter is really around confidence, around attitude, and around general awareness that the student or the applicant exhibits. So each of these has a different category of marks. It adds up to a total of 100. And we haven't taken anyone who hasn't scored at least an 85 on their interview. Okay, somebody is telling us that the closed group can be searched by the name Vedica Scholars Program for Women, batch 2015-16. I have a question here which says, what is the batch split in terms of freshers, 0 to 2 years of work experience and 2+ work experience, engineers and non-engineers, age groups by percentage? The split in the class right now is half and half. We have people who are fresh out of college, either undergraduate or postgraduate, and the other half is people with 2 and more years of work experience. We do have a fairly high percentage. I think at least half the people who are in the program already are engineers, have moved into very good jobs but are in a technical position and want to now change track. Most people who are coming to the program either were contemplating a traditional MBA but weren't particularly excited about it, and suddenly Vedica showed up and they decided that this is the time for them to go out and do that differentiated MBA so that they can go out and pursue managerial careers. In terms of an age group, like I said, is sort of one half is 20 to 23 years old and the remaining are between 26 and 30. We are hoping to get, we have a very good set of applications from women who have roughly 10 to 12 years of experience and are looking for a career change. 3 or 4 applications like that. I suspect by the time we close the class, we will have a handful of women who are what we call mature students who've had a few years of experience. We've had a lot of questions around the full scholarship, the tuition waiver that is available, the bursary, and also the loans that are going to be available to students. Every student who manages to make it through the application and the interview process is going to be, can avail of a 30% tuition fee waiver, which is called the Vedica bursary. Thanks to that, instead of 7.5 lakhs, your tuition fee comes down to 5.25 lakhs for 18 months. This does not include accommodation and food, which adds up to 2.1 lakhs for 18 months. So overall, you pay 7.35 lakhs for an 18-month fully residential program. The full scholarships, there are 3 full scholarships that we have announced, but as I've been telling many of you who have been calling or writing in, we will announce those only at the end of the admissions process, which is going to be towards the end of June. And these are reserved for extremely needy people. So, financial hardship and financial need are 2 different things as we see it. There are students we have already who have such compelling conditions that one of those scholarships we have already awarded, and we will wait till the end of June to be able to make the full, make that list known. We have organized student loans for everyone who will apply and qualify for Vedica. This is going to be through a subsidiary of the HDFC Bank. It's called Credila. There are 2 kinds of loans that they will give, secured and unsecured loans. The Vedica Foundation will come up to help out students who are unable to provide enough support or collateral from their homes. But that will of course be based on the level of financial need and support that is available from your parents or any other co-borrower. The loan is for 7.35 lakhs, and it'll get disbursed to you basis the timelines that you have to pay your fees. We are speaking to them to design a program that is actually very beneficial to you from the standpoint of repayment. So for example, students who can afford to pay the interest during the course every month will actually have a big benefit at the end, because only the principal amount will remain. Otherwise, the interest accumulates. But we are actually putting together a small 2-page document with all the details of the loan, the terms and conditions, what will be required from you, all of these things. And by early next week, all of these details will be available on the website. But in the meantime, any of you who want to get details, please write into us individually. and we will come back to you with the details of the loan. I've answered this question. We have about whether the CEO and the Shadow the CEO Woman program will be unique to every student. Yes, we have 60 mentors, and all of them will be, every student will be mentored by one CEO. When will the next batch start? It will start in December 2016. Unless something comes up and we have a huge bunch of students who all want to join in the summer of the next year. Right now, our plan is to launch the next batch only in December 2016 when the first batch graduates. I'm being asked if the Credila loan facility is already active. As per my last from an exit, they didn't have much info on it. Yeah, this is something that we are dealing directly with Credila's owners and some senior contact at HDFC through their CEO. So I don't think executives down the line are going to have this information. Please ask us directly and we will guide you to who to speak with and how to get your loan. If you can write in to me, Shashi Prabha, with some details of your of what collateral can be provided and who the co-borrower would be, we would be able to come back to you very quickly with the loan. I keep getting asked whether there are elective subjects at Vedica. We actually don't have electives. We have something called the seminar series. Some of you may have seen them on the website. We have one seminar series on borrowed wisdom. We have a seminar series on newspapers and understanding political economy through an engagement on newspapers. We have a whole set of seminar series called Industry 101. So it could be on the financial services industry. It could be on banking, insurance, publishing, social entrepreneurship, where we will teach in short modules specifics around what would otherwise qualify as electives. What would a day in the life of a Vedica scholar look like? So classes will start at 10 o'clock. So you will have some time in the morning to catch up, read your newspapers. People will do yoga, people will do meditation. We are going to introduce some of those classes. But the first class will be at 10, from 10 to 12. Then there's an hour of lunch. Then there's another 2-hour class, which ends at 4. Then you have a gap, and then we will have 1 hour of either a guest lecture or a seminar series lecture or an optional lecture in the evening every day. The remaining time, you know, you have assignments, you have other things to submit. So that's free time that's available to you. I've answered this question. What is the term structure? We've already answered this question. It's 6 weeks. All the courses will be covered in every term. And there's 20 hours of coursework for every course that you take. So there's 80 hours of instruction in every term, and then the guest lectures, the seminar series, and the evening classes or programs are all outside of these 80 hours. So I should just tell you all that we are very excited with the quality of applicants we've got, the feedback that we have, and the excitement that we have from faculty, both domestic and international. I was telling someone the other day that people were asking me about the response to Vedica. So our first response that we saw for Vedica was really from our highly exceptional governing council, who were all very, very excited at the design, the thought, and the structure of the program that we are putting out. As we started to put the coursework together and started to get faculty, we've had an equally overwhelming response from faculty. Even internationally, I think there are two things that are coming together. In organizations, in the media, I think in large parts of society, the need to empower women and the need to make the future for our young women better is actually a very, very big concern across the board. So anything to do with bright young women who are aspirational and who have the grit and the determination to make a success of their own lives is a very appealing community or category of people that faculty wants to engage with. the second thing is that people, that India is equally very, very attractive right now to people from across the world. So the combination of young, bright, aspirational women with the opportunity to be able to engage with and be in India with young students is actually very high appeal. So faculty has been very responsive. We've got at least 15 or 20 faculty already tied up, and we are looking forward to a very exciting time with the faculty as well. I have one more question on the, what is the hostel for Vedica scholars like? Will there be a curfew limit? Yes, there will be a curfew limit. Anyone who is looking for a absolutely free run on freedom, I'm afraid will not have it. We are very concerned about the safety and the privacy of our students. So it will be well run and well governed like a hostel should be. But that doesn't mean you won't have enough opportunity to go out and experience Delhi, experience all the advantages of being in the heart of the city. So very reasonable time, but I'm afraid it won't be unsupervised or unmanaged without any curfew. So, but we will treat you like adults. If your parents are okay and you can get permission that you want to go out and come back, as long as the warden and the authorities know, you will have a lot of flexibility. Do we have sports facility on the campus hostels? The campus is a very nice green campus in the heart of the city. It has, I think it has maybe a badminton court, or but it has green areas around it. From the standpoint of physical fitness and opportunity, what we are going to introduce is really yoga, meditation, and things like that. There's going to be a course in martial arts, which is another expression of control over the mind. But other than that, if you're asking me about large playgrounds and courts, then I'm afraid that's not available on campus. The hostel is roughly 500 meters or maybe a little bit more from the campus. There is going to be transportation provided that will take you from the hostel and bring you back. If there are no more questions, then I think we are, well, we're not out of time yet, but I think I answered a lot of questions last time. If there are any more questions, I'll give it another 2 or 3 minutes. I think many of your questions can get answered also on the, will there be any stipend given during Shadow the Women CEO? As I understand, most of us would need to relocate for a month. Firstly, I don't think you need to relocate for a month. I think this is, we have women CEOs across the country. So if people want to stay in the hostel and work with a CEO, woman CEO in Delhi, you will have the hostel facility available to you. If you would like to go back to your hometowns and work out of there, then at least in the larger metros, we have women CEOs and you can be assigned to CEOs in your city. We have 10 months after you join the program to be able to help you identify a high quality inspirational CEO mentor in your city if you would like to use that month to go back home in the middle of the 18 months. Right now, our big focus is to get women committed, since this is outside of the normal internship program, and therefore we have not broached the issue of a stipend with the women CEOs. Once we have the class in place and once we have our CEOs all signed up, my sense is that a small stipend may not be a problem, but it isn't going to be an assured, outcome in the Shadow a Woman CEO program. Okay, there's one question on whether the faculty members are full-time, how many are full-time, how many are visiting faculty. So for every track, we have one person who is fixed through the year, and they become the point of contact between students and also between the visiting faculty. But the the model of the successful model that we have worked with in the past and that we would like to replicate in Vedica as well is really the visiting faculty model, because there are great people across the country and across the world who would like to come and teach but are unwilling to give up permanent positions to come and join a higher education institution in India. So our main, so we believe one of the big differences for us, which is actually going to give huge benefits to our students and the program, is the visiting faculty model. So while we will have anchor people for each program, the larger bulk of people are going to be visiting faculty. Somebody has asked, are there other summer, autumn, winter internships included in the curriculum apart from a shadow or CEO woman? Will Vedica assist in getting internships? Can we choose the CEO as per? So I think there aren't going to be any other internships, because as it is, it's an 18-month program instead of a 2-year program. And instead of people going off and getting work experience for 2 months in the summer, which is more often than not a sham, we are actually introducing a 1-month shadow a woman CEO program into the curriculum. So that's really what mimics an internship. So I don't envisage any other internships. Is there a... Okay, there is one question around how do we see Vedica 5 years down the line? I mean, it's a beautiful question, and I think it really gives rise to a whole lot of emotion, thought, and vision behind this program if I think of it 5 years out. I don't want to hazard a guess in terms of the size and scale of the program, because I think that will take a natural course. If we do well in the first batch, I see this program growing quite rapidly. I hope that we can offer it in other parts of the country, and I hope that we can offer it in other parts of the world. We've received lots of compliments from across the world in terms of how unique the structure is, how fantastic it sounds, and if it is successful here, then I can see it getting replicated in many other parts of the world. I think what would really spell success for us would be the reputation and brand that we build into the notion of a Vedica scholar. We expect each of you to not only take the competence of management education with you, we expect you to carry a tag of a certain attitude, a certain responsibility, a certain professionalism, and a certain dignity with you wherever you go. And this is true of your personal and professional lives. So I wouldn't wait 5 years, but I think starting this year with the next batch, companies who have recruited in the first batch should come hounding us for the second batch, because they should know that if they can get hold of a Vedica scholar, then they really have an exceptional employee in their company. Somebody who stands for the right values, somebody who stands for integrity, somebody who stands for a very good attitude, and of course is competent, bright, and capable for what they have set out to learn and do as a management graduate. Right. I think we had a whole bunch of questions which I've answered, which were on the emails, and also all the questions that are up here on my screen. We still have 10 minutes, but I'm hoping that with the popularity of the program going, many of you are speaking to each other and our program team and getting your queries answered. We'd be more than happy to organize one of these again soon if there is a need. But for some of you who are already a part of the program, I actually did want to make one request. We would like you to become ambassadors for what this program stands for already. If you can spread the word about Vedica in your colleges, if you're undergraduate or postgraduate students, and in your respective companies. Especially, we find a lot of interest amongst young women engineers who've gotten into these technical jobs but would really like to make a shift. But because of the shortage of time, we launched only in the middle of April, and we hope to kick off at the end of July. There hasn't been enough time to go out and present in colleges and talk about what we are to offer. So if you're one of the lucky people who already heard about Vedica, then we'd be very grateful if you spread the word amongst your company, amongst your social groups, your family and friends, and also amongst your colleges. that we have applications are still open, and the third round will open on the 1st of June. Many colleges have been, we've got lots and lots of emails saying can we grant them more time because people are very busy with exams through May. So we will continue to accept applications in the third round, but as you know, we grant admissions on a rolling basis. So if at any point the seats close, then that is where the admissions process will close. But we are going to open admissions in round 3 on the 1st of June. So any of you who can help us spread the word and help with social media and popularizing the program, we'd be extremely, extremely grateful. So thanks very much for being on the Hangout, and I look forward to being in touch. Some of you may not have still completed your application form. Some of you I may not have interviewed yet. I look forward to being in touch and welcoming an absolutely fantastic founding batch of the Vedica scholars. Thanks very much.